gamers. Today we're back with second to last in the series of giving my honest opinion about each civilization in its current state, what needs to be buffed, what needs to be changed. I've done this for every other civ, and now we're down to Ottoman and Malian, and today we're going to do Ottoman. First of all, I think a lot of players enjoy playing Ottoman. I don't think it's like the most popular civ, but I think it's played quite a bit. People at the top level enjoy playing it as well. Regarding the civ itself, in its current state, which I am a bit surprised that it hasn't been nerfed so far. There's a lot of balance problems, I would say, with Ottomans right now. They're very, very strong, and there's so many things that can be nerfed to tune them down a little bit. Let's start with their general playstyle. I think that military school, I think they actually were nerfed once, but I think military schools are still really, really good. They're really strong at lower levels because they kind of macro for you. So even if you like lose a villager or 2 or 3, you kind of have military schools to back you up, even if you fail a little bit. And military schools are kind of like they are economy investment, because once you build a military school, the longer time it's up, you're basically generating resources that are coming out as units. This is why you see like Ottoman not necessarily having to go to town centers, because your second town center is military school, although it's like a budget town center, but you know, it produces units for free for the rest of the game, and you can even choose which units to produce. So I think military schools as a mechanic is very, very strong, and like I said, at the top level, and it's also very, very strong at lower levels, because it helps people that maybe don't have as good of a macro to kind of pump out crazy amount of units, and it's one of the civs that can spam insane amounts of units because of them. I think in feudal age, Ottoman is very strong because of Sipahi and because of Mehter. So if you choose to like fight Ottoman in feudal straight up, that's gonna be a pretty rough fight, because they have Sipahi that have longer range, and once Sipahi get in like villager line and activate the fortitude ability, which gives them attack speed, like your whole villager line just disappears immediately. They have archers together with Mehter. They have, you know, attack speed on them, or they can switch to like other drums for ranged armor or melee armor, which is very, very strong. So Ottoman in feudal, very nice. Recently they actually buffed the trade landmark, which I still don't think is as good as the food landmark, unless you may be playing with water maps, because the food landmark just gives you so much food. It's one of the best, if not the best, landmark in feudal age in the game. It is very, very strong, and whenever you're playing these kinds of aggressive games where you're trying to, you know, mass units and fight, Ottoman just seems to never run out of food. Then they got the vizier points, which I think the sheep vizier point is so strong, giving you 8 sheep, which is equivalent to 2,000 food under your town center. It's crazy good, and you get a free eco mining upgrade, which is very nice. The other vizier points for Ottoman, like, you know, they give you another military school, they give you faster production military schools, and you also then can produce knights or janissaries from military schools. So not only you're getting free resources, but you're also getting free gold, because you can produce knights or janissaries. So overall, very strong. Then we move into Castle Age, where with the recent, funnily enough, Ottoman in a way got buffed last patch, because in the recent patch it takes 3 Springle shots to kill a Mangonel, which again, I don't know if that's how it's going to stay in the future, but because Ottoman goes for the Imperial Armory, I don't know what's it called, the landmark that produces siege, they produce a Mangonel, and now the Mangonel is even stronger because it takes 3 hits from a Springle to die. Then it could also produce janissaries. You know, military schools are picking up, because the further you age up, the faster military production is on the military school. And then in Imperial, the military schools are just cranking out units non-stop. Sipahis are extremely good in Imperial. And basically a unit comp of Sipahi, Janissary, Great Bombards, in my opinion, is the strongest unit comp in the game right now. I don't think there's any unit comp that can beat it, because there's one strength of Ottoman, and that is that they don't need Springles. The reason they don't need Springles is your Sipahi, you can literally right click on the enemy Springles, they will get to them because of their longer range, and it will pop them in a second. So the enemy has to invest into Springles plus mangonels, let's say, whereas you're only investing into the mangonels, which are great bombards for you, which obviously do a crap ton of damage. And I think they take like 11 Springle shots to kill, which is, it's just wild. Like that's just way too many. Then you have Janissaries together with Mechter that do absolutely insane DPS, making any Civ going cavalry basically impossible against Ottoman because Janissaries like completely annihilate them. And the worst part is that Janissaries don't actually do that bad against men-at-arms, so very, very strong. So Imperial Age, in my opinion, probably the strongest Civ, but even if not, maybe it's like second strongest, right? Imperial landmarks for Ottoman, I think the one that boosts up the military production, that one was also buffed, I think like 6 months ago. It's very, very good. You get free university immediately, you get a big area for your buildings to speed up the influence production, and you also boost up your blacksmith faster production for all your buildings and military schools to 100% faster. Now you might be wondering, so where's the weakness in Ottoman? I don't know. I would say if Ottoman goes unpunished into Castle Age with 3 military schools, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Because then they have 3 military schools, they're gonna add a 4th military school, the Mangonel is coming, they can make knights, they can make Sipahi. You cannot make knights against them because of Janissaries, so then you're stuck in this infantry comp against Ottoman, and then they have Mangonel. So it's, in a way, it's always a losing battle. The best chance, I guess the biggest weakness of Ottoman is to attack them in feudal. And with that being said, the civs that are good or bad against Ottoman is great against any civ that has cavalry, or that is cavalry focused, I should say. And the civs that are doing pretty well against Ottoman, in my opinion, are English in feudal age, China and Jushi's Legacy also in feudal age, where they can't really fight Zuginu even with Sipahi. Sipahi kind of actually just melt. And there's some potential there with like Holy Roman Empire if you can get to castle, get some relics. Just massing men-at-arms or, you know, just harassing all over, overwhelming them with economy can be done. But in general, Ottoman is a pretty solid civ, I would say, against most civs. So what do I think should be buffed or nerfed? Well, I don't think anything should be buffed. Needless to say, I don't think they need any buffs. I don't think they need any help. One thing I would like, though, is for their second landmark in castle to be buffed, which is not the one that produces siege, but the one that gives you extra 2 vizier points, and you get more experience. So what I would personally like is for that landmark to get a unique vizier point that you can only get when you go for that landmark. Maybe like there's like a 4th tier of vizier points, and you can only get that vizier point if you go to that landmark. I don't know what that vizier point would be, but that landmark is extremely useless right now. It's like no one ever goes for that, and you know, having some kind of unique vizier point attached to it, I think would be pretty cool, and you know, incentivize people to maybe go for that landmark sometimes. That's like maybe not siege based, but maybe it's like an economic vizier point. I don't know. Regarding nerfs, well, Ottoman should definitely be nerfed. I think this is probably 100% consensus among top players. I don't think there's anyone that's like, no, Ottoman's fine. You know, no worries. It's been getting banned in tournaments for 6 months now, maybe longer. It's extremely strong. It's very good on hybrid maps, very good on land maps. Not very played on like Baltic or Mediterranean or Baltic or I don't know what's it called, Mediterranean or Baltic now. Forgot, Mediterranean I think. Or Boulder Bay or stuff like that, but it is played on like maps with some water, like a little bit of water, and full land maps. So the way to nerf Ottoman, in my opinion, there's a lot of ways, and because there's a lot of things that are strong about Ottoman. I don't think all of these things should be nerfed. I'm just giving examples of what I would nerf personally. I think that their H2 landmark, the Twin Minaret Madras, is too strong, so that's one thing that could be nerfed. It's producing way too much food. Then you could nerf military schools. You could, like, the production. You could nerf Janissaries. You could nerf Sipahi. You could nerf Great Bombards. Actually, whatever you nerf, I think Great Bomber should be nerfed anyway. Like, their HP should be... I don't know what their HP right now is. If it's like 400, it should be nerfed a lot. Like, I'm talking like 100 HP off. Because 11 Springald shots in Imperial to kill one Great Bomber is insane. So I think Great Bomber should be nerfed regarding any other nerf that you know, Ottoman could get. They just have too many good things at the same time. Sipahis aren't necessarily the problem, but Sipahis mixed with the other good stuff they have are a problem, right? And I think it goes the same with Janissaries, right? And it goes the same with... Like, I think if Great Bombers weren't as good, the Janissaries wouldn't be as good either. Because Great Bomber right now takes so many hits to die from Springald, but if Janissaries didn't do so much damage to cavalry, then enemy could make cavalry and kill your Great Bombards. But because Janissaries are there, you can't go cavalry, thus making Great Bombers even better. And I feel like it's like a trio of Sipahi, Janissary, Great Bombard that just kind of cover each other, and instead of that them being like 110% strength, they're like 150%. So I think nerfing any of those three units will affect Ottoman overall in a pretty big way, I would say. So yeah, like I said, there's plenty of ways to go about it. I don't think all three units need to be nerfed because you don't want to like nerf the Civ into the ground. But I also find it weird that it's like you can't go cavalry at all against Ottoman. I don't really like that design wise, because, you know, like for example, English, right, has longbows, but that doesn't mean that you cannot make spearmen against them, right? French has knights, but that doesn't mean that you cannot make like horsemen or archers against them just because they counter them. But it feels like Ottoman, because they have Janissaries, you simply cannot make cavalry, and that feels a bit weird to me. So I don't know, I would probably change Janissaries somehow, maybe reduce the damage against cavalry, like the bonus, but give them a more base damage, so they're like a bit better against men-at-arms, but a bit/a lot worse against cavalry. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe they should be more expensive, but even if they're more expensive, the problem comes from, you know, military schools producing for free. So yeah, I think straight up, and I think I haven't said this for any of the civs, I do think Ottoman is too strong. Again, everyone agrees about this at the top level. I'm surprised we haven't gotten the nerfs yet, but I'm pretty sure we will, because it's, you know, whether devs are looking at tournaments, whether they're looking at ban rates, whether they're looking at the top level play, whether they're looking at the ladder win rates, I'm pretty sure Ottomans are doing really well everywhere. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion on that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks so much for watching. The last video we had is going to be about Ilalu, aka Malians, and then we're gonna just go back to, I don't know, normal, regular content. And I guess we don't have any more of these videos. So if you're watching YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Check out Twitch, I'm probably live right now. Twitch gamers.